Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is a scene for Living World of Darkness, Street Magic Edition. And here we have Isis Share. She owns a quaint little floral shop on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Um, it's surprisingly chilly, so her hours have been a little bit sporadic as she's had to spend a little bit extra time at work making sure that the weather supports the growing of different types of plants she has, which included setting up a little mini greenhouse to make sure that the plants that she's growing still maintain that proper temperature to support nice, healthy, vibrant rooms. So, as the last customer of the day steps in, a portly woman who ordered a really excessive amount of roses. She is quick and diligent with her job as she tightly wraps the roses and hands them over. And with that being done, she flips the sign to being closed, takes off her smock, and through the mind blink, she will try to casually get Edwin's attention. Hello. I'm done for the day.
You are excellent. Are you alone and safe?
Yes, typical
Okay.
Monday.
Okay. Yeah, well, um, take a seat, and we'll be there shortly.
All right. Isis takes a seat and she waits patiently, not exactly sure what to expect.
Do you have any mind shields?
No.
Excellent. A slow rumble, and the image before you of the florists that you're, and the table that you're sitting in, including the cash machine and the clothes sign and the street algo flash and disappear. You're presented. You're in a seated position. The seat seems to have, that you have in your shop seems to have followed you as well, but you're standing now on the top of a tower. The wind whistles around, but it's dimmed and dull somehow. Beneath you and this tower, there is nothing but the cloud cover. And though it would be very difficult to breathe from this great height, it seems to be that your lungs filling with air without any problems. The wind doesn't bother or chill your bones, and all seems peaceful up here, with the exception of perhaps the flitting of a small glowing orb to and fro the topmost point of this tower, and little whispers along on the wind themselves. You see in this circular basin, almost like a bowl, sitting at the top of this tower where you're standing or sitting there now. Before you walks a figure, ginger haired, shaven, uh, with a messy mop of hair, and he seems to be dressed in a robe. He bears a staff and seems to be walking towards you expectantly and slowly. He holds his hand in greeting and says, "Welcome."
Uh, Isis will look towards him, give a kind of a, it's not necessarily a warm smile, but a very smart smile. Um, Very sure of herself. My name is Isis Share Bani Rabena.
"Welcome to the mind web," Isis Share, Annie of Verbena. Or what is it that I can help you with?
I just wanted to let me be frank. She looks at you, and her eyes kind of give this tinge of mischievousness and half playfulness. I've heard interesting stories about you. The others seem to have very mixed opinions about you. And I've never been one to just take somebody's word. I wanted to actually see you from my own eyes.
He nods in understanding. I see.
One story is that you are an incredibly arrogant man who doesn't care much for people. Others say that you are a accomplished hermetic who doesn't have time for whimpering children. Others say that you are very skilled and probably one of the most skilled mages here in the city. That's quite a reputation and quite varied.
I see. Surely it'd be my actions and my words that would mark if I was that kind of person.
This is why, instead of just assuming, I went and asked.
He nods. I understand. Well, I'm not one to redress accusations or people's opinions on me, I guess. In the big picture of things, my work is more important, keeping people safe and keeping balance maintained than playing a popularity show.
So you're much like a guardian almost.
A steward, yes. I try to not get involved unless something affects the overall picture of things in the city.
Steward. And what does that person entail besides that incredibly vague explanation you just gave?
If there are powers that are quite potent or ancient or threaten the fabric of the reality of New York City, then I will act against it.
Understood. Um, hmm. She furrows her brow. So let's start with a really simple question, and if you indulge me, that is, what is it like here in the city through your eyes?
The city has been broken and been made several times. There are pretty successful diplomatic attempts in order to maintain peace between the factions that live within the city, and there is a great deal of damage to the realms of the spirit surrounding this place. Let's think. I have not heard from the creatures of the night, the vampires as they're called, but I do not trouble myself to know too much about them. There are creatures that change their shape that exist within a place within the city, and they have been active and have done things that can pose danger, but they seem to resolve their issues without any problems or without my interference. The magi that work in the city are mostly disparate faction and have come together for mutual defence and are spending time learning. They have yet to pose any kind of danger at all to the city, and they are quite good at keeping themselves well policed and well looked after. Things are status quo.
So you maintain a status quo. Do you think it's effective?
Well, we can only measure things by our actions. I have yet had a situation where I needed to act. And hope that is not the peace before the storm. I do believe that it's on the right direction.
She looks at you with almost a discerning look. So,
Edwin places his hand against his temple for a moment and speaks. Yes, Tomei, one moment. We can speak in a short while.
Mhm.
He then looks over at you and apologizes. I'm sorry about that. That was another message coming in. Would you care for some refreshment?
coffee would be nice.
The wind serves. Um, the wind seems to whistle around, forming little dust devils next to you where you sit. A table forms as if out of clouds itself. And in the centre of such a small circular table there appears to be apparatus and a steam bowl or a steam pot of hot drink that you wish.
Isis will grab her a cup of coffee and doesn't really add anything to it. Kind of takes it strong, unedited, and
Edwin will walk over and he will, again, out of clouds and wind, a seat will form. Nothing too ostentatious, it just looks like an office chair, wooden backed. His staff hold it to one side, he will let go of, and as it falls, it becomes wind itself, disappears. Swirl of his robe. He looks at you. Much better.
so, Edwin.
Mm.
I've seen a lot of interesting aspects of, I guess, magi, as you call them. Some are very. It's not at all what I was expecting. As Isis kind of shifts a little bit in her seat. Some seem to be very unnaturally carefree.
Okay.
And it seems that a lot more should be happening. So I'll be frank. What through your eyes, what would be something that someone who is freshly awakened should understand?
I see. So you're asking me for guidance about how you should behave, or
Not necessarily God, just another point of view.
I see. Well, finding friends is always seems to be a good thing. They keep you safe, and they also keep you honest. As I heard one of my colleagues would have said, there are a large contingent of desperates, as I mentioned, but they're open to others. And it'd be nice to have someone from the traditions inputting their faith and their beliefs to people that have decided to walk their own path, but could do with some wisdom of the traditions as well. I think I'm sure someone's mentioned the fact that you should not go to certain locations like Central Park. Other than that, I can't think of anything else. We know there are technocracy in the city, and they appear to be active, but not hunting us. And that's it, as far as I know.
That is pretty much the answer I got from everyone else. But more so, she furrows her brow. If one wanted to deal with a problem, me myself am not in any particular danger. Um, already have a certain understanding of magic with a small m, but and I already know that a lot of the information I know is best kept to myself. That makes any sense. Um, but
Okay.
the other issue basically is how would dealing with, say, a mischievous spirit.
Hmm. Well, there are a few spiritualists in this city, as far as I'm aware. Have you met the disparates in the tower yet? Tommy and Ken and Alaric. Do those names sound familiar to you?
She nods.
I believe one of them is a burgeoning spiritualist, and he may be capable of dealing with or helping with the issues that you have. Is this spirit of a personal nature, or do you believe it poses a greater threat to the city?
I believe that it is something that doesn't have the same thoughts as we do. And if it was human at any point, it no longer is.
I see. I see. Well, it sounds like it's a particular issue that you feel that you need to deal with, and that's more well and good. And my advice would be to seek out a one called Alaric. He seems to be strong in the ways of spirit.
Okay. She nods.
I don't want to pry too much into your personal history. It seems to be important to you. As I said, my function here isn't to get really that involved in that kind of thing. I want non-interference. I think is my best bet here.
No, I guess I've learned quickly. She nods, to keep being vague is important.
I understand, and I will not pry.
But she gives you a once over. Um, and she says, "Well, do you have any questions for me? Pretty sure that the life that you lived, I don't think I could actually give you any answers you don't already know."
If you see any problems that are larger than yourself that threaten the city, I would hope that you could send me a message to let me know the case and the issue. And If it's necessary to deal with it, I will. This isn't me avoiding work, of course, but I would appreciate your advice or your insights on things that are happening around the city that I might not be immediately aware of.
I think that's beneficial. She smiles. What do you prefer? This she types her head lightly that way or another way?
The way we're talking is fine there now. The spirits themselves, if you speak my name and the code word, then it will transmit the message to me directly. We'll be able to communicate that way without bogging down the mind web with conversation everybody can hear. So if it's important, that would be ideal.
Understood. She looks at you, finishing off the last sip of her coffee. Um, where should I put the cup?
Just place it back on the table. It doesn't exist really.
She places it back on the table and
It,
well then.
it sort of melts away into cloud and then disappears into the table itself.
This was quite interesting meeting. Um,
It's
wasn't
welcome to the mind web as well. He points towards the tower. This is the place that fuels and regulates our communication.
she nods.
Do you have any more questions for me or any requests?
One request. If one wanted to get more knowledge without compromising information, how would one go about that?
There are a few occult libraries in the city that are mostly held by chantries. Maybe you can offer your services to one of the chantry heads in order to access the libraries themselves. I'm sure there's always more occult knowledge that you can find, and the spirits are pretty vocal nowadays. If you have ways of speaking to them, I'm sure they can find a way of educating you.
She nods. Thank you.
You're welcome. Edwin stands. His chair folds away into a cloud. Shall I send you back to your shop?
Please.
You were there already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He raises his hand, and the image flashes and disappears, and you're sitting back in your shop. Edwin, standing in his demesne, starts having a conversation with himself. Comiet, have you met Isis Shear? He listens as if waiting for a response. Can you introduce her to Alaric? She is in need of a spiritualist. He grins. Want? There is no want here. I'll send Isis to you. Please take care of her request. Edwin faints from sight. Do you have the last word there? Does Isis want to say anything before I end the scene? Holding on.
Isis will frown her brow and she's definitely formed a few opinions, a few thoughts, and musses her hair a bit, ties it back, and goes for her jacket and walks out into the street.
With that, I think we'll end our scene.